G'day team, it's your old mate the Kiwi Badger, and it's sad times. G'day team, as you might have heard recently in New Zealand we had a psychopath grab a firearm and go and shoot 50 beautiful people. Ended their lives through hatred, stupidity, and that's kind of unacceptable. I just want to talk about that briefly. It's a very divisive and so I suppose subjective to a point kind of subject matter. I think we'll go this way. We're just leaving a place called Waipawa. I've just been to a funeral. A friend of mine, his mother passed away, so I've just been to the funeral. Now, so I thought I'd talk about this. I've had a few days to mull over, I suppose, the emotion and the reaction from the general public in relation to several factors surrounding the Christchurch shooting. And I want to cover a few of them off briefly. You could talk for hours about these points of discussion and still get no closer to fixing things, or even to preventing it from happening again. The first thing I want to point out is that the shooter was an Australian citizen, had been living in New Zealand for 2 years, and whilst here was planning an attack against the Muslim and immigrant community, but hadn't decided where. In his planning, he had obtained a New Zealand firearms license, owing to the fact that New Zealand and Australia have an understanding where we can live in each other's countries without a visa. The visa is automatic. Anyway, so he's obtained a firearms license and then legally obtained a firearm. Then he's illegally obtained extended capacity drum magazines and box mags, and then he's gone on a shooting spree. So the first thing I want to cover off, which kind of irritates me, is the slogans. The slogans that arise out of situations like this, and in this case the slogans are hate does not live here, they are us, things like that. I don't think a situation like this is the time or the place to be coming up with slogans. Look, hate doesn't live here. You know, we're a fairly accepting country, and that's why it's happened here. Other comments I've heard is, you know, he attacked our way of life. Look, please take this comment for what it is and don't draw inferences from what's not said. I'll quite clearly state that I believe that it isn't an attack. It is not an attack on our way of life. Our way of life enabled this to occur. Okay? We are soft, we are naive when it comes to certain worldly affairs like terrorism, and this piece of shit in particular. Okay? But he didn't attack our way of life. I could almost bet, if I had $1 million, I'd bet $1 million. I can almost guarantee that if I was to walk between the gunman and the mosque on the footpath, okay, that he wouldn't shoot me. His attack was aimed directly at the Muslim community and the immigrant community, and had nothing to had nothing to do with attacking the average New Zealander. Now, I am not saying that Muslims or immigrants are not average New Zealanders. What I'm saying is this person was attacking a specific identified group. As a matter of fact, in the video where he is going from the second shooting scene to the third shooting scene, he stops at a pedestrian crossing to allow two white people to cross the road. Now, if he was on a murderous rampage, attacking our way of life and all New Zealanders, he would have run them over, is my guess, but he didn't. So that's the first thing, okay? This was a very targeted attack. The next thing is the reaction from pro-gun and anti-gun people. I'll put it out there right now that I am a firearms owner. I am a firearms license holder. I have enjoyed hunting and shooting and firearms ownership. Okay, so I'll let you know that right from the get-go. What I do have to add is I do believe that the New Zealand licensing system is lacking. It is extremely easy for some nutjob piece of shit to obtain a firearms license and then go buy a firearm. Okay? The next thing is, the term assault rifle does not apply in New Zealand to the general public. In order to buy an assault rifle, you have to be a military firearms collector. Okay, an assault rifle by definition is a firearm that has a selectable function to change from semi-automatic to fully automatic and back. That is an assault rifle. What a lot of uneducated and ignorant people are referring to are MSSAs, or military-style semi-automatics. Okay, these are firearms that are styled to look like military weapons. Nothing more, nothing less. There is no difference in functionality between an MSSA and a hunting semi-automatic. Okay? No difference. They kill the same thing. Okay? You pull a trigger, a projectile comes out the end and kills its target. It's that simple. What allowed this nut job to kill so many people was extended or box mags or drum mags, which are illegal here, and he illegally sourced. Otherwise he would not have had the ability to carry hundreds and hundreds of rounds as easily as he did. So I'm a gun owner. I don't believe for a second that that because he had MSSAs that caused or enabled him to kill people. Okay, if semi-automatics were not available in New Zealand, okay, he would have found another way to do it. Build a bomb, grab a knife, grab a machete, hire a truck, drive it through a crowd of people, whatever. Where you have an individual who is hell-bent on inflicting harm and causing death, they will find a way to do it, regardless of what they can or cannot get. Okay? Can guns and licensing be tightened up? Most definitely. Do I think banning all semi-automatic weapons is the way to do it? No, it's not. Semi-automatic weapons are no more responsible for killing the 50 innocent people in Christchurch than cars are responsible for killing 370 odd people on New Zealand's road last year. The death toll in New Zealand was 370 last year. Now, what caused those cars to crash and kill other people? The people driving them. Just as the firearm that was used in Christchurch was being operated by a person. Okay? Last year in New Zealand, 78 people died as a result from falling off ladders. Okay? From falling off ladders. Are ladders responsible for killing those people? No. Ladders are not responsible. So, is it then logical to say we're going to ban all semi-automatic weapons to stop this from happening again? The answer is no, it is not logical. Might it slightly reduce the possibility of someone killing as many people as quickly? Yes, it is possible, and I'm not going to argue the fact that it's not possible. But I will also say that you can have any other form of action in a rifle, for instance, a bolt action, a pump action, a lever action, okay? And I've seen people fire those categories of firearms as quickly as someone can shoot a semi-automatic. So the argument that semi-automatics kill people faster is a moot point, especially when the psychopath, such as the one from Christchurch, has been training with firearms. Okay, he's a fanatical psychopath with a penchant for Muslims. Okay, so some of you might be going, well, the Port Arthur massacre in 1996, where a guy killed 76 people using automatic and semi-automatic weapons, the Australian police made a reform and banned all automatic and semi-automatic weapons, and that fixed the problem. If you argue that, you are ignorant, okay? Simply put, you are ignorant. And I'll qualify the comment as follows. Automatic weapons in New Zealand are only obtainable by those with a license, a collector's license, which enables them to do so. After the Port Arthur massacre in 1996, the Australian government, through, I suppose, public opinion and public pressure, did a hasty reform because it was all emotive and divisive, and the government of the day carried out a reform. Now, comparing us to Australia, because they are the most similar by way of culture, they're the most similar by way of, I suppose, lifestyle, i.e. hunting for leisure, I guess. I'll let you in on a little secret. Well, it's not a secret. If you've got half a brain and know how to use Google, go and search it yourself, and you can verify this. Since the Australian government carried out a reform banning all semi-automatic and automatic firearms in Australia, there have been no less than 25 mass shootings. 25 mass shootings with a combined death toll of 120 people. How can that be, Kiwi Badger? Because they banned all semi-automatic and automatic weapons. Surely that must have stopped people from doing mass killings. Clearly not, people. Clearly not. This just illustrates the point that semi-automatic weapons are not the culprit here. If through a reform I lose my semi-automatic weapons, then hey, you know what? So be it. I'm not going to cry about it. Okay? But I don't think now is the time to have a reform and make or change law where people are emotional, extremely divided. Okay, it's not the time to make a clear, educated, responsible choice. It's simply not the time. Okay, we need to gather the facts, get some people together, look at other rules and changes and reforms from around the world, and decide what works best for us. Okay, so if a reform sees all my firearms taken away, you know, hey, it is what it is. Here in New Zealand, we do not have a constitutional right to bear arms. In New Zealand, gun ownership is a privilege, not a right. So before all you pro-gun people start with the Second Amendment, that argument simply does not apply in New Zealand or to this topic or to this video, because this is not the United States of America. Okay? In my opinion, the people to blame for the Christchurch killing, obviously the shooter, but after things like this happen, you have these people who come out of the woodwork and from under rocks and from under the carpet and all the dark places to share their knowledge and wisdom, and they say things like, oh, I met him and I knew he was sick in the head. Thanks, bro. I knew he was sick in the head. I knew he was going to do something like this. You know, all these people come out and say they knew it was going to happen. You ask those people, what did you do about it? And the answer is nothing. It's very similar to those people who walk past someone in help or distress, or who are at risk on the street. A man beating a woman. It's noticed by people, but do they intervene? Of course not, because they don't want to make it their problem. But as soon as that woman is killed at the hands of her boyfriend in the street, all of the people come out of the woodwork and they say that should never have happened. He's done it before. He was always going to kill someone. So the people to blame, in my opinion, are the very people who surrounded this sick individual, knew he wasn't right in the head, knew he shouldn't have had firearms, and said and did nothing. If people cared a little more about their fellow man and about their neighbour, things like this would not happen. You can blame gun licensing, you can blame semi-automatics, you can blame racism all you like, but people will die at the hands of people for ridiculous and needless reasons if we as a community don't step forward when bad shit happens and say stop and intervene. We are so disjointed by social media platforms and devices, people simply give less of a shit about their fellow man, and that is a sad, sad world. Do I sound pissed off? Yeah, I do. Do I sound blasé about Christchurch? Well, I bloody well hope not, because I'm upset about this. This is close to home for me, in as much that I have two twin cousins who are both Muslim and could quite have easily been in a mosque at the time, well, not necessarily in that mosque at that time, but being Muslim, they are practicing Muslims, okay, and they go to prayer, and there's nothing to say that this couldn't have happened to them at some time because someone hates what they believe in. Okay, it is that simple. And I hate to think that my cousins, who are lovely, lovely humans, could be subjected to being needlessly killed because of what they believe in. So yeah, am I pissed? Flag at half mast. Good shit. Am I pissed? Yeah, I am pissed. You know, 50 beautiful people didn't need to die, regardless of what you think about their faith, regardless about what you think about immigration. It didn't need to happen, and it could have been stopped. But I'm also equally as pissed at all of the uneducated keyboard warriors who believe that banning guns or banning semi-automatics is the answer. That kind of belief or opinion is quite simply born out of ignorance. So you can't really blame them to an extent, because they just simply don't know. So they think what they're saying is accurate, but it's not. Semi-automatic firearms, okay, are not to blame. Just as I've had someone say to me that if you have a weapon that looks like a military weapon, then the owner is more likely to kill someone with it. Let's just think about that for a second. I'll repeat the comment that if someone has a firearm that resembles a military weapon, that user is more likely to kill another human. Really? I've pulled over for a sec because I just want to ask you a question. If I paint this red, will people think it's a Ducati? No, probably not. Okay, just because it looks like something doesn't mean it is something. And if you believe that if I paint this red, it looks like a Ducati, or if my semi-automatic rifle, which happens to resemble a military-style weapon, is any more capable of killing a human than a hunting rifle, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. You may agree with what I've said, hey, and you may disagree, and that's great, because we're all individuals, we're all different, we all have opinions. That's great. Do I want to get into an argument with any of you on the comments of my video? No, I don't. If you disagree with me, that's fine, disagree. In other news, I'm still going to continue with the prison blurbs, the prison blogs, I guess. If you have any questions, I know one person's asked what do I think of should prisoners be allowed to vote, was a question that was asked, and I'm not going to answer that until I do the next prison video. A lot of you have said that yeah, you'd love to see another prison video. I'm going to need some ideas, guys, from you. If you want to hear about certain aspects of prison, tell me the aspects you want to hear about. Ask me the questions you want to ask in order to get the answers you've been searching for. There's no point whatsoever just saying, yeah, I want to hear another prison blog, okay, and not giving me anything to talk about. As I say, 15 years of doing that job, I have a wealth of knowledge around prisons, but I can't just instantaneously recall every aspect of it. So as I say, if you've got a specific question that you want answered, please leave that in the comments, and I'll make it a point in my next prison blog video, okay guys? Anyway, rant over. Please stay safe out there, look after one another, and if you see or hear anything in your community or your house that isn't right, speak up and say something about it. Let's be human towards other humans, shall we? Let's make a concerted effort. Let's make a concerted effort to start giving a shit about each other. The world's always going to be a shitty place if we don't look out for each other. We all bleed red at the end of the day. We're all humans. We all have thoughts, opinions and feelings. You may not agree with some other people's thoughts, opinions and feelings. Doesn't make them any less human than you, and doesn't make you any better than them. Well, unless of course you're a bigoted, homophobic, racist, neo-Nazi who wants to kill Muslims, then yeah, you are a piece of shit. Anyway, I'm out guys. Take care, be safe, work hard, be good to your mother. That's me. I'm out.